Welcome back to the next topic, five of our content. And this is all about tapered column and rafter knee joint and splice detailing technical structures. Now, if you take a look on the screen here, you can see we had worked on our previous column. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going now to fix my first rafter here. So I'll be using the points that we had segmented initially to terminate to identify the location of the splices on the rafters, and also as we did on the column here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll under my applications and component pane here. I'll scroll up and pick on PEB member. So under PEB member, I'll just place my cursor just close to the point I want to terminate it on. I'll click on that, then move all the way to that spot here and click on that. So I'll right click once again and click interrupt to terminate that command. So you can see by default, I want this tapered side to come to this far end. So I'll just double click on it and give it some time to process that information. And from there, I'll have my editor dialog box. So from the editor dialog box, I'll be able to key in the right information to change this, to switch this tapered side to the other section of the tapered column. Now it's just about to come up, and here we are, we have it here, and I'm going to, you can see the D0 and D1. So this will be my D1. So under D1 here, I'm going no, as it is this is my D1, and I want to switch the information right here. Just copy that and paste it here. If I paste it here and just change this to 6 and click modify, so that will change that information, or will change the shape of this particular member here, and we'll see the taper switching from this end to that far end, and we'll be able to now start our connection from that spot. So you can see we have our steel line still intact, because when we begin placement of the purlins, we don't want to pass this line. So that's why it's called steel line. And the same applies to the column. When we start placement of the guts, we don't want our gut to pass that line. So this just we constrain it to that lines, to those lines. So I have that in place. So I want also to create another rafter, but this time it will be a little bit straight, not tapered. So I'm going to close this. So once I've closed that, I'll come back here and pick on a PEB member and just place my mouse here, and it will detect that snap. And that snap only appears when you enable these buttons here. You just mouse over them, and just see the information available there, and just enable them so that you'll be able to see the snaps. So if I click on if I mouse over that, you can see that snap, make them active. So that's when you'll be able to see them. So let me just mouse over that, close to that point, and I'll be able to just click and come all the way to this section here, and just mouse over close it to it and click on that. So we have that taper, but this time we don't need a taper anymore. So what I'm going to do, I'm going just to double click on it and then make it a straight rafter by switching everything to 600 depth of the column. So let me just give some time to process that information, and we'll have our dialog box in place in just some few seconds. Then from there, we'll be able to key in the right information. So let me just change this to 600, and we'll be able to click modify, and give it a apply. But remember, there are more options here, where if you're interested in changing the thickness of the flange and the web, we just come to parts and key in the right information there, and you'll be able to change everything. So I can just go ahead and click apply and give it an OK the way it is. And if I zoom out, you'll be able to see there's the best link ever. We have that on the other end. So the part remaining is just for the ridge. So the ridge will handle a different section. So what we want to deal with is splicing these two components, and also creating a joint connection here, a knee joint connection here, and splice this, and the other one will be done later on. So I'll come to splice. I'll scroll down and look for the tool splice. So I'll scroll down and pick on PEB splice and pick on it. Just left click on it to select it. So the moment to select on it, you'll see your cursor changing to a plus sign, means it has carried the information with it. So we just wait to select the main component. You can see select main component. So the main component will be this, the bigger one. Then we come to this, the smaller one right there, and right click and just wait. You will see a preview of the connection. So let's just give it some give it some few seconds to process that information. From there we'll be able to edit that default connection that we have on the screen here. If I zoom closer, you'll be able to see we have this default splice connection here. So this is not the best, but you can always come here and click PEB member updater. If I click on that, I'll be able to update that and come with the right one. So I'll come to navigate here and click on that, right click and down to rotate this, so you can see the stiffeners on this far end. But it doesn't look good for me, and that's the reason why I want to modify this. So I'll just double click on it. So they want to double click on it. The reason why you double click on that is for it to act to bring forth or to bring up the editor dialog box. Editor dialog box is this, or you can call it editor dialog box or property dialog box of that particular connection here. So we can change this maybe to 100, and maybe this one also we can change that to 100, and come here and click modify. And if you come here, you can see it will respond, and to the changes you just key in here, because we don't need this so much extension protruding outward. We're trying to save still. So it has responded, and that is 10. So from here I'll come to parts, and this is where we can now change the width of this, but the width of this is dependent on the width of the column. So you can just key in here maybe 250 right there. So if I click 250 right there and click OK, it will adjust itself accordingly to the size. But it's kind of going uh, beyond our preferred settings, but we're just within. And that's okay. Now the bolts are just the ones that have been left out. The thickness here, we can just give a thickness maybe 10 millimeter right there, and go ahead and click apply. And if you want to add material, just click on that radio button there and come to material still here and pick the standard the material of your preferred choice. So I'll always pick that and click OK. So I have that in place. You can also define that by just typing it, maybe a splice, and or a splice, maybe SP right there, and that you can you can just describe it of, we can give it a name of your choice. Then I'll just go ahead and click apply. But I cannot click apply prior to changing the stiffeners here. So luckily enough, I have my preferred settings that I had created before, and if I come here and pick on splice, I can go ahead and click load. So this will load the settings that I had keyed in initially. So you can see the settings that I had loaded. So if I come to picture here, you can see I had keyed in 90 millimeter, and there's the bottom end here 90 millimeter. So the projection here, I left it at both side projection to be normal, both sides projection, but not a full length projection. Let's try full length projection and see how it behaves. So it hasn't responded because our connection is our splice is not linked up with our editor dialog box. So let me just double click on it so that it creates a link. Now I'll come here and come to that spot and click SP0 that, because I had created this preset before. So I'll just go ahead and click load and click modify. If I click modify, it will pick my previous settings that I had created. So if I come to navigate, click rotate with mouse and pick my rotation point, I'll be able to turn that around. So the important thing here is just I want to share with you the settings that I had created for this particular preset connection of a splice connection. So if I come to tab here, you can see what I had chosen and keyed in to define that kind of splice preset connection that I had created. If I come to bolt here, on bolt tab, you can see what I had keyed in to come with that. And also, if maybe I want more details here, I can add maybe tolerance there, and that's okay. But anything I add here, I'll click save as, so that it be included as a detail on my preset. So I'll just go ahead and click load. It will be added there. So let me add the washers and click modify. So I have that in place. And maybe I'm not pleased at all with the how the stiffeners looks. So maybe I want to change this one also. So I'll come to stiffeners here. So under stiffeners tab, I'll be able to get the details on how I can manipulate these stiffeners. So what I'm going to do, I'm going under stiffeners here, and the first one on the web stiffeners, I'll click on that drop down arrow and pick a different one. And this one also, I'll pick a different one here. So let me just drag this aside so that I'll be able to see what I'm trying to explain accurately. So let me just click on that and I'll pick a different one like that. So in here, I'm going to key in the chamfers, and also the thickness. But the thickness, we already have 888 for all. So let me just click modify. So if you click modify, this will respond and it will take a different profile. So you can always go ahead and change this. Change the chamfers. Maybe I can key in 30. That will be small. Let me key in 50 and key in 50 right there. And same applies here and same applies here. So once I've done so, I'll go ahead and click modify, and the changes will be reflected here. So if I come to navigate and pick rotate with mouse and left click and hold, and I'll be able to rotate that, and you can see that turns like that. So if I come to picture or bolts here, you can see, I'll repeat once again, you can see how I ended up doing that. And that's what you can follow up and try play around with that splice joint, and you'll be able to create something similar to that. So let's meet then on the next presentation. On now we'll be handling the knee joint and also another splice there, and move to a different topic from there then.